up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today I thought we'd talk about my top 10 favorite indie brand eyeshadows. So without further ado, let's get into it, girl, because y'all know me, I'm gonna talk for a real long time about every single one. So let me stop wasting time to get into it. So first, let's start off with the palette that's on my eyes. Although I haven't bought from this brand recently because of the inconsistencies in formula, I still like the brand, and I'm just waiting for them to, like, you know, turn it around so I can buy some more stuff. So this is Unearthly Cosmetics, of course. I actually have on this palette right here. This Smells Like Holiday Spirit palette. This is one of their 2 holiday collections from 2021. It's the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes right now. So I'll show you what I did. I took these three down here as shimmers. I did this shade and these 3 shades up here for my mattes, and that's how I created the eye look I have going on right now, just in case anyone cared. But I really love this palette in particular because they had a other one called in the Dark of Night, or I believe that's the name of it, don't quote me, but it was like a little smaller palette. But I just love the color story of this one so much because it gave me weird and unique colors like this to come up with and combine. So I love this palette. It has a good formula to me. I also loved, I think this is the 2nd palette I bought from the brand. This is the Strawberry Milkshake palette. I originally saw the Poison Apple and I was like, yes, give it to me. And then they came out with this one around the same time, so I just ended up buying both because I was like, yes, I need them both. I got I think the new formula of this one though, because the old formula had sold out by the time I went to go buy both of them. But I didn't have any issues with my shimmers in this one. Random side note, this brand is having a 40% off sale right now. I don't know if it's still going to be going when this video goes up, but I know they had a 40% off sale. I'll try to remember to put this in my community tab. But yeah, honey, it's a gorgeous palette. Next, we have the Witching Hour palette. Again, this is a limited edition one. This was their holiday collection. I want to say this Halloween of 2021, because the 2022, if I remember correctly, they had the mystery box. But I really like the color story of this. It definitely gives the Hocus Pocus vibes, just like the Strawberry Milkshake gave the Strawberry Shortcake vibes. Both of these palettes came out before those palettes, so that's something to keep in mind. You can't get this one anymore though, but I'm pretty sure you can still get the Hocus Pocus from ColourPop. So if you're interested in this color story, you might want to check that one out. It's a great alternative. Next, we have the Sleepover palette. This is my type of mauvey palette, if you will. I will say I don't like the shade Sleepover because it has glitter pressed into the matte shade, so I don't necessarily like that about this palette. But everything else in it is fine. Like if she had just made a super deep black shade with like a hint of purple, kind of like in Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction, I think I'd like that a whole lot better. But otherwise, I like the palette overall, and this is one of my most reached for nude palettes because I know it's going to have like nice pinks and unique tones to it. Next, I have my All I Ever Wanted 2, because since All I Ever Wanted 1 went so well, she brought it back and then she came out with 2. 2 is my favorite one. It's a good alternative to the Danessa Myricks Lightworks palette. The second big one she came out with those huge shades in the middle and nobody likes. This has a lot of similar colors to it. I gave you all a video talking about that, so if you were interested in you know, getting an alternative to that palette, I would definitely say get the All I Ever Wanted Volume 2. Now, I don't know if she still sells this one or not, though. That's the only thing. Like, she does a lot of discontinuing of things, so just bear that in mind. But this next one I'm going to show you, this is like one of my all-time favorite palettes from the brand. That's why I saved it for last, and it actually is supposed to be coming back. I heard from Angelica here on YouTube. She said that she told her she was going to bring back this palette. This is Vitality. I feel like you should have known what it was. I love this one. This is like a cool, colorful, grungy rainbow, if you will. And I just love the color story of this. It has the blues and the purples, and it has a little green section, and you got some little pinks, a little orange. So I feel like the orange and pink section is like a little sunset vibe, and then you can get like a nice little green grungy look, and then you can have a cute blue and purple moment. So I feel like this palette is well curated. I love the color story and everything about it. The only thing I don't plan on using is the white, but everything else, like, I'm here for it. Yes, I need it. I love this one, and this would be a good alternative for people who don't want to buy the mystery box and get the highlighters and the lips things that come in there with it, because the mystery palette, the large box, looks really similar to this right here. I did a video telling you why you didn't need it, because, you know, you can just wait till this palette comes back, and that's what I would suggest, because I feel like it's going to be more bang for your buck. And then if you have the Unearthly Cosmetics 1964 palette, then you don't need to buy the little mystery box either, the small one, because it's really similar. Matter of fact, let me just grab it. It's like literally sitting over here in the corner, so let me just... But yeah, This one right here, the one I was telling you about, like if you have this one, I feel like the color story in that was really similar too, because see, it has like those bluish green tones that the palette had, then it has like those pinkish tones the palette had too. So that's why I was telling y'all in the video, like you don't necessarily need this one, but I just used the Retro Love by Beauty Bay instead. And either way, you know, it's a good alternative out there, so you don't have to buy that, because it's like you might have wanted lip products and highlighter and all the other stuff. You might have just wanted like the eyeshadow palette when you saw the reveal of the box, because she did reveal the box. That's why I don't have a problem showing you all like the colors I'm showing you and talking about it, because the owner herself already revealed it. So it's not like I'm out here leaking stuff and, you know, like ruining people's lives with it, you know. Next, I have Cosmic brushes. So they only have 2 palettes. I did order the 3rd palette yesterday, Friday, because it's a Saturday when I'm filming. But yeah, so this is the palette that started off for me, and I feel like just all of us like the Serenity palette, because I had never heard or seen anybody talk about their first palette, but when I saw this one, I was like, oh yes. I mean, we all know this is my green, blue, purple type fantasy palette. Like I always say, like the little orange, I didn't need it, but you know, she's there, you know, she's not bothering me, she's minding her business, so you know, she can stay and you know, whatever. But I really love the color story of this palette, and I feel like it's an amazing price point on this palette too, for the quality that you get in it. Honey, she's giving. When I first tried it, I was like, I wasn't that crazy about it, just because you had to think how many blue, green, purple palettes that came out by then. You had the Michaela one, then you had, it was another brand that had came out with one, and then I had tried this one. So I was like, I already tried like 2 other ones of this, so I think that's why I wasn't that impressed or crazy about it when I first tried it, because it's like, how many blue, green, purple palettes am I supposed to try and be excited after a while? But after I had tried it, after I hadn't tried the Michaela one and the other ones for a while, I was like, yes, this is giving. So then when they came out with the Muse palette, of course I had to have that one too, because you know, like they were like Pokemon, I had to catch them all, leave me alone. So this is what she looks like on the inside. To me, this is stunning. This is like a perfect fall palette. I feel like this is actually a pretty good transition palette, because you can go from fall into winter and use this palette, and you know, they'll both, and during both seasons it'll be appropriate and look nice. You might even be able to pull this off like in the spring as well, with like some of the more softer colors in here. So I feel like this could be an all year round palette. I kind of want to do a video about that, like palettes that you can use all year long, because there are like certain colors in each part of the palette that will work for each season of the year. So let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I think that'd be fun to do. But yes, I love this palette. I love the other palette, and like whenever I do looks with this palette, they actually comment on my Instagram, and I think they posted me on their stories before, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me. Let me see, where's the next brand? I'm missing a brand. Where is it? Where did I put them? Oh, I put them together with this one, that's why. Because next brand, they, whenever I do look with them, they always feature me on their Instagram page, and I'm always so flattered, because you know, like, they don't have to. I post plenty of looks with plenty of other brands, and they don't ever like post me on their page or their stores or anything, so you know. But next, it's Glaminatrix. Y'all know I love Glaminatrix. So these are the Glaminatrix palettes I have here, but I like every single Glaminatrix palette I have. It's just I forgot to bring, which one? I forgot to bring the Silent Night palette, which is funny enough, it's the first one I bought. I bought that one, and then I bought Nocturnal, then I bought Glamorous, then I bought this one, Nearly Natural. And this one, I told you all, is a good alternative for the one from, what is it? From Lunar Beauty and Laura Lee Los Angeles, the Full Fantasy palette. I feel like this is a good alternative for that. I forgot to tell y'all in the video, if you have the Fumi palette, where is it? Yeah, if you have the Fumi palette from Juvia's Place, then you don't need to buy the blush palette either, because like these are pretty much the same tones, and this is supposed to be an eye and cheek palette. So it's like you have the highlighter shade that's really similar, you have the pink shade, you have the red shade, you have a neutrally-ish shade, you have a neutrally-ish highlighter that you need for your eyes, and then you have this fun pop of purple. So I feel like that was that was something I slipped up on, because I meant to say that in the video. It was sitting right behind me where it is now, and I just forgot. But if you want an alternative to the blush palette, the Fumi palette, if you already own it, girl, you don't need that. But back to Glaminatrix, which makes these lovely palettes. Now this one, unfortunately, she is discontinuing. I forgot what she said. She listed on Instagram why this is being discontinued, but since it's being discontinued, you don't necessarily need to I mean, you don't necessarily need to get the Full Fantasy one. Just go ahead and grab that one up before she discontinues it, because I feel like the quality is just superb. It gives you those wonderful sparkly shades that you like. Now keep in mind, it's not going to have the purple and the pink and the purple and the blue purpley shifting shade that's in Manny and Laura's palette. But otherwise it has all the same colors. Like when I showed y'all side by side, a lot of y'all was like, yeah, I don't need that. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Since you have the Nearly Natural palette, since some of you all told me you had it, you do not need that palette. And they claim when they get rid of it, they're not bringing it back. So it'll just end up being like the Glaminatrix one anyway. So I would just say go support the small business, the Glaminatrix one. And you can use code Cage Makeup, of course. I'm pretty sure Karen has a code with them. Don't quote me, because I'm sorry. Karen has a code with Cosmic Brushes and Unearthly Cosmetics. But next we have the Nocturnal palette. This was the second palette I bought from them. The U Beauty I bought as well. That was the very first one they came out with, and I love the color story, but I was like, I didn't know how good it was going to be. And then it came from, if you don't know, this is an Australian based brand, so it's coming from Australia. I was like, I don't know if you know, I don't know. So yeah, so I regretted not getting it, but she came out with it, and then thank goodness, and I was able to get my hands on it. But this is the Nocturnal one. When I saw this one, I knew, because I had bought the Silent Night by then, so then I knew that the quality was going to be superb. And like this color story, I mean, it's giving. You got your nice little neutral quad right here. You got your fun, like, you know, blue, purple quad, and then you got your fun wild card quad here. That's what I call it, because it has this weird, unique, blurplish, I guess, shade to it. And then you have this nice greens or whatever. So I feel like if you just look at this in quads, then it'd be easier for you to do looks as opposed to just looking at it as a whole palette. I mean, I can look at it and just come up with random stuff to do, but like if you can't, I feel like that's a good alternative for you. Or you can just look at like a 6-pan palette. See, it's like that could be 6 colors you can put together, and then this could be 6 colors you can get together. This can be like a neutral color story with a pop of blue effect going on, and then you got the fun, wild, crazy colors when you want to do something unique and fun. So there's a couple of ways to look at this palette if you're confused as far as like what you want to do with it, and those are just the ways that I suggest you do. Next is my Glamorous palette. Now, I wasn't crazy about this when I first tried it, but I found out you're supposed to put the shimmers on top of the mattes in order to get the opacity that you want. I'm not necessarily a fan of doing that, so I usually try to pair this with another palette, and then I'll just put the shimmer on top of another shimmer as like a topper, if you will, because that's the vibe it gives to me because of the sheerness of the shimmers. But otherwise, I feel like it's great. And again, you can look at it as a quad. See, you got this nice little berry tone quad. You got this blue-green quad, and then you have like this pink and purple-ish quad. So just look at it that way if it's difficult for you to come up with an eye look, and it should be simple enough that way. The quality on all these are amazing. It's just a question of what your preference is when it comes to color story. But what I like about this brand is they always have unique color stories. Now this is the latest one she came out with. She changed the packaging and got like a nice little insignia logo, if you will. And this is the Into the Night palette. Now this is a good alternative for the Pat McGrath Mothership 3 palette if you want some vibrant pops of color with the palette, because y'all know Mother's palette ain't gonna have this fun neon shade right here or this fun hot pink. So if you want a more fun version of Mother's Mothership 3, then I would definitely say go ahead and get this one instead of that one, because it's quite nice looking, I must say. I really enjoyed making looks with it. Dion and I did a old school versus new school with this, where she used the Pat McGrath one and I used this one, and the looks turned out pretty much exactly the same. So if you don't want to buy the Pat McGrath one, go ahead and get the Glaminatrix one, because they both do the same thing, and you get a couple of fun pops of color in that one as opposed to not having any. So y'all know this wasn't going to be a video without Adept Cosmetics, right? And look at all these Adept palettes I got. I have just about every single palette I know of that exists from the brand, because hello, we love Adept here. So let's start with this House of L palette. This is the smallest one we have. This was a tribute to Superman. This is what it looks like on the inside. I love the color story of this. I love to pair this with the Terra Moons palette, the El Barrio palette from Terra Moons. I love to pair with that because they have a few more mattes in it, and y'all know Adept isn't really giving that many mattes, but that's okay, because since I have so many palettes, I just pair it with other palettes and call it a day. It gives me more use out of my collection. So sometimes I like having palettes that don't have as much of what I might necessarily need to complete a look, because it'll help me use other things in my collection and remember. Like I'll be telling y'all, pull it out and remember. I can pull it out and remember, because I know I don't have enough mattes in here to complete a look. I mean, I could somewhat do it. I think I did it in the video I initially got this for, like, because this was a transition shade. I used this as an outer V. I remember correctly, this was my crease, and then I used these, so you could make a full look out of it. It's just, if you want a more intricate look, you're not gonna have enough mattes in here to do it with. So I like to usually just pair this with that palette, because I know that both the color stories match pretty well. and I'll get a decent look. Now this was my favorite for quite a while, but you know, she has been dethroned. And I know y'all right, like Hydra got dethroned. Yes, Hydra got dethroned, honey. She look, moment of silence for Hydra getting dethroned, because I never thought I'd see the day that happened. Because y'all know, as much as I love purple and much as I love this palette, do you see how much I have dipped into the shade Hydra on its own, honey? Look at these dips. Look at these dips. I don't play about my Hydra palette. Look at the dips. It's absurd. But I just love this palette so much. I dip into the green a little bit as well, but I mainly usually dip into, well, the purples, because it's a purple leaning palette and I love that for me. But yeah, Hydra, she was the GOAT for quite a while, but you know, she's been dethroned. I'll show you what she's been dethroned with in a minute. I feel like you wouldn't be surprised by it though. And then that one is in a tie with another one right now from Adept, because you know, she just keep coming out with these bangers and I need them all. So next we have the Minka palette. I love this one as well. I like to pair the Hydra palette with this one sometimes too, because I like this darker purple and this lighter purple, and then it has those deeper gray tones to it. So if I want to do a smoky eye and have like some of these cool smoky tones here, like Luna is amazing. Luna is everything. And then the shade Selena, I like to use that one a lot. I used Linda the last time I used this palette though, and it actually turned out pretty nicely. So I love all the shimmers in here, especially the sparkling ones at the top. I feel like these would go nicely with the Ladson palette. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like the shimmers in here at the top will go nice with those mattes, because there are a lot of neutral mattes, and then you have like a lot of these neutral shimmers. But this is a gorgeous palette. I'm so glad I have got my hands on that one. That was the one that came out with all the highlighter palettes. Now I don't use the highlighter palettes that much, or to start, they're not highlighter, they're blush. I think they're blush topper palettes. Don't quote me exactly, but I don't use those that much because I really reach for my blush palettes. I need to use them a little bit more though, especially because I have these like creams. I feel like they would look really nice on top of some of the cream shadows I have. So next, Ladson. I hope I'm saying that right. Ladson. Child. But this is what it looks like. I know when I first got this, I wasn't necessarily crazy about it. It's grown on me a little bit because I came out with that really nice look you all saw. I think I ended up putting like, this was what was on my lid, and then I used the red and the black and one of these neutral shades to dust into my crease to make a nice look. So I like the fact that this one has more mattes than she normally gives. The only thing is, since they're like neutral mattes, I was kind of just like, oh, okay. But the eyeliners came with this, and I live for their eyeliners. Like, I used up all of Sector 001. Like, y'all, it's empty. It's gone. I had to throw it away, and I was sad. Like, one day I was getting ready for work, and I was doing an eye, and, like, it just stopped on me. And I was like, what? And I had to, like, dip in and try to, like, grasp for straws what was left. So, I'm like, I need to get another one of those. Because, honey, that is like my all-time eyeliner formula. Like, it blends so smooth and easily. The brush is really nice, because I told y'all the ones I have on my eyes right now from JD Glow, like, the brush is so horrible to use. Like, the hairs just split off all on each other, and then like I have it all over the eyeshadow look that I just did. And then when I use a separate one that I got in a brush set, then it doesn't work out that well, and it ends up looking chunky. So it's like, the brush on eyeliners is really important, and I feel like Adept did an excellent job with that. I wish I had saved the one from Adept now just so I could use it in there, but it's like, because those bottles are so much longer, I wouldn't be able to get into a certain point. So I'm just kind of like, so I need to find a colorful eyeliner that does amazing. Maybe she'll come out with some neon ones another time, because that'll be awesome. If she comes out with some neon ones, I'll be so excited, because then I won't have to worry about using these anymore. Because I'm telling y'all, it's a struggle and a half trying to get these on, but it looks so pretty, so it's worth it to me. Next, we have the Arrow inspired palette. So this is what it looks like on the inside. This is the one that dethroned my Minka palette, because I mean, look at it. It has my blue, green, and purple color story. This was the other palette I was thinking about when I said I had tried 2 blue, green, and purple palettes already. I had tried this, and then I had tried the Michaela one, and that's why I wasn't necessarily impressed when I first tried the Cosmic Brushes one, because it was like, it was my 3rd one to try, and I was like, good God. But look at the way these shift and how different colors they are. And then she gave me a whole row of like greens to play with at the bottom. So I have this deep one for all my outer V's, and then I could play between these different like neon looking shades right here. And then you have this as your transition shade to start off with and set your primer. I just think it's a lovely color story. But the recent one that she came out with is giving it a run for its money. This is the Seahorse Palace. Y'all know I have done at least 4 or 5 looks with this palette. I recently did one in the video that you already liked, and I filmed it for TikTok. I've got to post it on IG and my, my YouTube shorts over this weekend. But like, honey, it's giving. I'm living. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Look at that. It's just, I can't. And I plan on doing some more looks with it again soon. So, needless to say, I love my Adept collection. Adept be giving me all the feels and all the gorgeous palettes. So, I had to put them in here. They are literally one of my all-time favorites when it comes to shimmers. They're just amazing. So, the last one I'm going to talk about right now, and then I got to go grab a new set to show you, is going to be none other than Flynn Bunny Cosmetics. Y'all knew Flynn Bunny was coming up in here, but every single time she drops a palette, I'm like, yes, give it to me. Where is it? Is it far? I bought it. It needs to be here 20 minutes later. So I'm starting off with the little troll one because it's sitting on the top. These are stunning. Like, if you need some multi-chromes, I think these are really nice. My only thing is that I stand by this when I say that I'm like, it's kind of expensive for how tiny it is because you only get 4. I know she said it's comparable to other brands, but it's just like, since, I don't know, I guess because I have so many multi-chromes and I have such bigger palettes of multi-chromes and things like that, that I feel like give me more bang for my buck. I feel like this one doesn't give me necessarily bang for the buck. I mean, I bought it and I really like having it in my collection. It's just, I feel like you could get like the Cleoned one, and there are like other smaller indie brands that give you nice shifting shades that don't cost as much. So that's why I was kind of just like, I like the fact that this palette is convenient though, so I don't have to like dig through my singles. That was the like main thing for me about trying it. Plus I wanted to see what her formula was gonna be like, and I really like it. I was just like, it's high because it's so tiny, like it fits in the palm of my hand. Next I have the Flynn Bunny Cosmetics Lure palette. Y'all know this is my favorite Flynn Bunny palette. Like, look, this color story gives me all the feels. This color story is me in a palette. This color story is amazing. And yes, I needed it. Like, if there was any time I want to be on Flynn Bunny's PR list, it would have been when this palette came out. Because, honey, I wanted it as soon as I saw it. So I was jealous of Karen and everybody who got it in PR, because I was over here like, man, do you know how badly I wanted this palette in PR? Like, I'd have had like 5 videos up, 2 shorts, and all that, just because this is my color aesthetic and story, and I love it. But you know, it wasn't meant to be, so I just had to buy it, and you know, there you go. But I don't regret buying it at all. I love it. This is like my favorite one from the brand. It knocked Surge off its ledge as soon as it came out. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Surge who? Surge where? Surge what? That's a thing. No, but I like the uniqueness of this, and the fact that she still managed to put like some neutrals in here for people who don't necessarily use all this a lot. But I feel like this was mainly for color lovers like myself. But if we needed to be able to do a quick neutral look and still wanted to get bang for our buck out of this palette, she included them. So I appreciated that. And as you can see, I have dipped into quite a few shimmers at the top, and I just love this palette. Like, this, if there's a Flynn Bunny palette I love the most, it would be that one. That's easily going in my favorite palettes of 2023, because honey, she's giving and I'm living. Next I have the Flynn Bunny Cosmetics All Done Up palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. To me it kind of gives cooler version of Manny and Laura's what is it, Fool Fantasy palette, because it gives like those deeper tones, but it gives like a cooler version of them and different variations to choose from. And I really love this color for fall, especially. I really love this color story. Like, it just gives something extra that I'm just living for. So I'm glad to have it in my collection, and it's one I reach for a lot when the fall comes. Last, I have the Flynn Bunny Surge palette. So this was the one that I loved the most, and I feel like, you know why? Like, look at these last 2 rows. Like, these last 2 rows just gave everything I needed. I like the pastels at the top, and I like the fact she always gives like deeper tones for the outer V. And even this row is nice. So all the rows are nice. It's just the shimmers in here weren't that great, but I think this was the first time she put shimmers in the palette, if I remember correctly. So she was still testing out her formula, or was it? Yeah, it was this one first, and then she put shimmers in the Dollhouse, and then it was Primal, then pretty sure it was All Done Up, then Lure, then the new one is coming out now called Grunge, which I will be picking up. You already know, but This was my favorite one for quite a while until Lord came and dethroned it. Okay, y'all, so let me go get the next set of palettes, and then we'll talk about those 5, and then I'll be done. I know, right? I've been here forever, but these are things I love, so I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm sorry. You knew what this was. Okay, y'all, so on to the next brand. I know it's a whole nother day and a whole nother eye look. Are you feeling the eye look? Because I was definitely feeling this today when I got off work and thought I was somebody. Okay, so next brand I have is Fenty Cosmetics. So I have the Juvia palette. This is the one they originally came out with that everybody's so in love and obsessed with. And it's really nice color story, and it has really nice quality. The only thing I don't ever like about this is like the satin shimmery shades. I'm not really a fan of those, but overall the palette as a whole is wonderful. She gives you enough deep, dark, crunchy shades to put on the outer V, but she gives you some nice lighter shades to transition with as well. And then she gives you some shifting shimmery shades that look gorgeous on the eye. So of course I'm loving and living for it. Of course my phone would decide, I mean my camera's battery decided to start dying as soon as I started filming. That's child. Next I have the Sorcery palette. Now this is one of my favorite palettes out of all of them. I'm tied between this one and the one I'm going to show you next. I do have bars, but I didn't bring that one. I tried to bring the ones that I really love and care about to show you. So this is what the Sorcery palette looks like. I had a little accident with my pink. It cracked a little bit on both sides. I don't know how that happened, but this was my favorite one. Now I'm kind of tied between it and the one I'm going to show you next. But y'all know this is me in a palette. Like this color story, it's all me. It's got the blues, it's got some pinks, it's got some purples, and like this shifts to like a bluish greenish type shade. So I'm all here for it. It's a whole vibe. As you can see, this is the dirtiest one I have because she is well loved, and probably because this pink shade is cracked too. But this is my favorite one from the brand. Or at least it was. I got the Rogue now as well, so I'm kind of like, but I like the Rogue too, so I'm like, I don't know. But, because this is more of a me as a country story too. Like, to me, this is a good alternative if you didn't get a chance to get your hands on Annette's Makeup Corners palette from Eye. I feel like this could be a good alternative for you. Now, it's not going to have the exact same colors, but I feel like it has a good majority of the colors that's in Annette's palette and this palette, and that would be a good alternative for you. And you can use code, what everyone said together now, we can use code Cage Makeup. That's right, we can use Karen's code at Fenty Cosmetics. Do you get tired of me saying Karen's code? I'm sorry, but we love Karen Harris here, so I'm going to push all of the codes. If I know Karen has a code, and we know I don't have one, I want you to get that discount. And since I love Karen, and I think Karen's content is wonderful, and she's on maternity leave right now from making YouTube videos, or so she says, but I see her quite often, which I'm totally fine with. I'm loving the multitaskingness of the mommy of 2 and it all, but I love to support Karen any way I can, especially since I know she's supposed to be on maternity leave right now. So make sure you use code Cage Makeup with anything you can as a way to support the lovely mother of 2 that we call Karen Harris. Next, I have Lethal Cosmetics. Y'all knew Lethal was gonna be in here. I love this brand so much. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I love Lethal Cosmetics. So let's start off with the 1UP palette. This is a fun, colorful one, and this is the only one that's not in their traditional packaging like this. And guess what? You can use code Cage Makeup here as well. Yay! But this is what the inside of the palette looks like. Lethal is one of my favorite brands, and I found out about Lethal through Karen, which is again why I like to push her codes, because I'm like, I found out about a lot of brands based through Karen. I found out about Fenty Cosmetics through Karen, Flynn Bunny through Karen. I'm sure there's a couple other ones I found out about through Karen. I'm just not thinking about it right this moment. But I mean, isn't this color story me? It has blue, greens, and purples in it, and a little pop of pink for me to use. Like, I love color stories like this, and all the shifting shades, and you put them on top of other shades, and they just look beautiful on you. I love it. I'm here for it. So glad I got my hands on this palette. I think it still have it. I think they still have it, or they restocked it one time. I don't know if it's still in stock right now. You can check their website, or you can check Camera Ready Cosmetics to find this brand. So, but I just love that palette. It's one of their fun, colorful ones. The very first one I bought from them was After Dark. Then I got Velvet Dust. But one of my all-time favorite ones is Night Flower. Y'all, I love this palette so much. I mean, look, hello. Just look at it. Hello. It's gorgeous. I just can't. I'm pretty sure she discontinued it. Don't quote me though. But it doesn't have like this pop of pink. And it doesn't have, well, no, I think it does have the black. I don't think it doesn't have the pop of pink or like the bright green shifting shade here. But otherwise, it's a good alternative for this palette. So if you wanted to get an alternative to this palette, that would definitely be a good one. But I love both of these palettes. I'm so glad I got my hands on both of these palettes, because honey, it was hard at times trying to get your hands on these palettes. Okay, crap, what up? I left the other palettes over there that I need to grab for the last brand, so I'll be right back. Hey y'all, third eye look. I know, right? Just eye looks all through this video. This is the Seahorse palette from Adept Cosmetics, alongside the, what is it, Juicy Boost palette from Colored Rain. Lastly, we're gonna talk about Ace Beauty. So Ace Beauty is number 10. So let's look into it, girl. So we have the Oceanic palette from Ace Beauty. I mean, we know this is one of my color dreams, right? It's blue, it's green, it's giving everything. If y'all didn't know, blue was like the original color of eyeshadow that I fell in love with when I started using eyeshadow. So I loved me a blue moment. I still love me a blue moment, so I love this palette. If you didn't get your hands on the Whale Song palette from Menagerie, I know their store is closed right now if I remember correctly. You could go ahead and grab this one. It might be open by the time I put this video up, but it was closed when I made it, okay? Leave me alone. Next, I have the Ambiance palette. Now, if you're looking for a color pop good sport dupe, this is definitely the one for you. It doesn't have the exact colors in it, like it doesn't have the bright purple. It does have a purple, but it's a shimmer and not a matte. And if I remember correctly, it's a bright purple matte in there. But this gives definitely a wonderful alternative to ColourPop's good sport palette. And if you don't, you know, and if you didn't get a chance to get your hands on it, everybody raves about how wonderful it is. This is your alternative to go grab it. So go grab it, girl. This palette is excellent quality because these are their newer palettes. I wasn't a fan of the original form, and a lot of other people weren't. I know some people were, like Baddie Bean, she was fine with it. It's just myself and like Karen Harris and like Angie or Angelica Neefus, we weren't fans of it. So now they've come up with this new form, and I absolutely love it. Next, I have the Tropic palette. You all have seen this one recently because I did a with the old school versus new school with this one versus the Yucca palette. Yes, honey, it was giving. I was living. If you don't want to spend the money on the Yucca palette, because that's like $65, you can, or is it 67? I don't remember if it went up to 67 or whatever. But the point is, you can get this palette for $38.99, and then you can use code what, everybody, we already know, you can use code KH Makeup and you can go pick up this palette. So I would definitely say get your hands on this one if you want the aesthetic and the feel of the Yucca palette, but you don't want to pay Natasha Denona Yucca prices. Yeah, do that. The last one I have to talk about from Ace Beauty to wrap out this video is the Palapi palette. This is actually one of my favorite palettes from the brand. I love the color story on this. I think it's so cool and weird. Like, it has these weird green shades. It has my like pink moment. It has a nice purples to it. I have my blue moment. So I have the majority of the colors in here that I love, and they even give you this little neutral section for people who like neutrals. We know I'm not a huge fan, but they come in handy when you need transition shades, and if you want to kind of tone down a look, if you will, with a pop of color, they're good for that. But I love this palette as a whole. Now, I didn't buy the one with the game. I literally bought it when they had the palette where you could just buy it by itself because I didn't want the game. I don't do palette bingos and stuff like that. If y'all have noticed on my channel, I think I've done one time with Dionluvsmakeup, but I don't really do the palette bingo thing. So since this palette is supposed to be old to that, I kind of wasn't, you know, really excited about getting the game. But they had it go up for a limited time where you could just buy the palette, and I swooped in there with the quickness and bought it using code KH Makeup. Thank you. But so those are my top 10 favorite brands. I want to show you palettes from them and, you know, give you a feel of the brand and the color stories that I like and things like that nature. So just in case you're new and you happen to find me, that you see what kind of makeup looks you can look forward to. That's another reason I gave y'all 3 separate looks, so you can get an idea that we like color here. But those are the top 10 palettes. You can comment down below and tell me if you agree with me or if you own any of these palettes. And if y'all want to see any looks with the palettes, comment down below. I think I've done looks with pretty much everything in every palette from every single brand in this video, which is shocking. But you know, when you've had a YouTube channel for like 5 years, I guess it's not. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I got a surprise new set of videos coming up soon, so I hope you enjoy them. Be blessed, girl. Bye.